All right. Fix this real quick. Am I on? 1 2 1 2. All right, listen up, you nerds. This goes out to the individuals who want to contend with me over the fact that I talked about the Hispanic people when it comes to contact sports. I wasn't directing it to necessarily to Hispanic people. I was directing it to, every nationality. And I was talking about the compare and contrast of every nationality when it comes to sports, what they're good at and what they're not good at. Let's just face it. There is no nationality that dominates every sport. There is not. However, when it comes to particular sports, there is one nationality that dominates them, and that is African. All right. So let's get an understanding here. Now, I've had people in the comments come at me and say, hey, I'm this nationality, that nationality. I compete in this realm and I beat black people all the time. Whoop-de-doo. What I'm saying is at the very top of the pile, there are certain nationalities in certain arenas that are at the top. This is a fact. You don't argue with me about it. Just go look up the facts. Now, some of Hispanic guys have gotten a little, in their feelings about this. And they keep trying to come at me. One guy is like, hey, look how many of us have poured into the country. Eventually, we're going to be on top. And it's just like, that is a dumb statement simply because you don't have to come into this country, America, just to be on top in sports that are contended all around the world. MMA is not in one country. So you're not going to have 60 million of you come into this country and all of a sudden you're going to be better than Israel Adesanya. It's not going to happen. It's just not. I mean, look at who's at the top right now and look at the weight classes they're in. And you're going to find out that most likely it's an African or an African American. It is what it is. It's not me. I didn't make the rules. I'm telling you that this is what's currently happening. One guy's like, hey, just wait and we're going to be, listen, it's not going to change anytime soon. Hispanic people are very good at what they're good at. No, nobody puts up a house like a Hispanic person, and it's fast. Now, the quality might be come sa, depending on who you get your contract from. But nobody puts up roofs like you guys. Nobody puts up houses like you guys. It is a fact. The backbone of America is ran by migrant workers. Most of those people are Hispanic. Look at what's happening with Title 42 right now, where the migrant workers can no longer get into America, and they're kicking people who don't have their passports out of here. If you don't have your papers, you're leaving. So look at what's happening in Florida. Look at what's happening in Texas. All of those jobs that are out there, nobody's showing up to work. Why? Because the Hispanic people have that sewn up. Nobody can argue this. Nobody's going to say, hey, Hispanic people, are not the hardest working people in freaking America. Nobody's arguing that because they are. Now, there's reasons why they are, but the simple fact is they are. That's it. That's all. Those are the facts. Nobody's arguing the facts. You guys got that sewn up. You guys come in here and you do your thing and it's on. Big ups to you. That's what America's for. You come to America, you work your ass off, you get yourself a new Chevy. That's what it is. But when we're looking at sports, name me one Hispanic that has won the Olympics in the 100-yard dash. How about the 200-yard dash? Okay. How about the 400-yard dash? How about the 60? How about the fastest time in the 40? How about the fastest time in the 300? None. None. You know why? Because those are all held by Africans and or African Americans, somebody from the continent of Africa. All of those records, male and female, are all held by somebody from the continent of Africa. That's what it is. Point blank. You can argue with me if you want to. Just go and look up world records, and you're going to see the fastest people in all of these events are all Black. Now, the reason for this goes back from the beginning of time. And we keep having to go back and find out how long humans have actually been here. But we all know that they all came from the Fertile Crescent, which is smack dab in the middle of Africa. It even when the earth was a Pangea and Africa wasn't even named Africa, that's where the Fertile Crescent is. That's where the first humans come from. It is what it is. It is a very hot region. It's near the equator. Those are very dark-skinned people that came out of there. But let's look at what also is there. The largest animals on the planet are there. The elephant or pachyderm or whatever you want to call it. Listen, the Indian elephant and the African elephant are the same species. They just traveled, and when the earth started breaking up, when it wasn't a Pangea anymore, is the same species that traveled to a different continent. Okay? So let's just get it straight. The lion, the same thing. The tiger, the same thing. The largest animals are in Africa. Now, when you look at that, when you look at the Cape buffalo, when you look at the rhinoceros, the giraffe, freaking zebras, okay? When you look at crocodiles and whatnot, hyenas and cheetahs, the largest animals come from Africa. Now, this is what these people had to contend with. Now, you know that these are the largest carnivores too. So what is actually happening? If these are the animals that's around you and they eat meat and you eat meat, then they eat you and you eat them. So what is happening? These animals run at 40 miles an hour plus. That's 40 miles an hour, and these lions have been known to eat people. One of them would attack villages over and over and over until they finally caught up to it. You had an alligator that was doing the same thing. And you have hyenas, that hyenas are so smart. When there are civil wars in Africa, they just go and follow where the children are coming from, and they eat the children. This is what's happening today. Hyenas have the strongest bite out of any other cat class. Some people like to say they're dogs. No, they're cats. And they're freaking huge. Okay? Let's get that understanding. So if you're contending with the largest and the fastest creatures on the planet, now what? What does that make you? It makes you fast and it makes you strong. Period. Dot. It makes you fast and it makes you strong. Okay? Also, the plants, aggressive everything in Africa. Insects, aggressive. Everything's aggressive. So your fast twitch muscles develop according to what you do and what your ancestors did. This is why most Africans are at the top when it comes to running. When you look at Morocco too, when you look at the fastest man in the 100, that's Usain Bolt, Jamaican. What is he? He's African, black. He's at the top. He holds the record. When you look at the fastest woman, that's Flojo. She's at the top, 10:47. You look at the fastest woman now, Jamaican, Thompson, Elaine Thompson, at the top. When you look at the fastest runner now, who won the Olympics in the 100, he's from France, but nonetheless, Jacobs is black. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed you too. Jacobs is black. The guy who won the Olympic hundreds in a 9.8 is black. Okay? When you look at all the runners who's coming after, the ones that are on top right now, Brumel, the fastest high school kid, black. When you look at the fastest 200 runners now, Fred Curley and all those guys, they're all black. None of them's white. None of them is Hispanic. None of them. Not even close. So don't argue with me about MMA and how you guys are doing in MMA. Just go look up who's doing what. Don't argue with me when I say when it comes to contact sports, we're pretty much at the top. Now, you got some exceptions to this, which I'll give you. So you're gonna have karate or stuff like that. I don't watch karate, but I know grappling. Gordon is number one in grappling. I don't know how much black people are in the grappling. I don't know. When it comes to deadlifting, that is owned by the mountain from Iceland. Okay, so you guys have that, even though there is I think Henry, he is, the strongest black man out there. I don't know how he competes. So, the Icelanders, they have that. But you don't in strongman competition, there is no Hispanic guy in strongman competitions. There's none who's out there with big old 200-300-pound balls in their hand, tossing them balls, carrying 1,000 pounds, 800 pounds. There's none that I know of. Enlighten me. When it comes to boxing, you guys mentioned, who'd you guys mention in boxing? Oh my God, you guys mentioned Golden Boy. You guys mentioned the owner of Golden Boy. It's like, come on, Mayweather beat that dude. Mayweather's at the top of the pound, no matter how you slice it. He's at the top of the pile when it comes to that. Okay, when you look at the boxers now, even though a lot of people don't agree, but Devin Haney just won. He's still undefeated. Female Lopez, Tio Female Lopez, however you say his name, he's been defeated. You have let's see, Devin Haney's undefeated. You have you have about four. Tank is undefeated, and he just beat one of the Hispanic guys, Ryan, whatever his name is, the Flash, the Speed dude. Nobody looked at that fight and said that this guy could not fight. Tank said he didn't have the greatest footwork, but Tank already knew what he was going to do to Ryan before he got into the ring. And Ryan pretty much knew it. Now they're saying that Ryan, because of the weight loss or the hydration or whatever, and plus he was hurt. Okay, run it back. Run it back. I'm with it. Run it back. Make sure he's healthy. No clause. Run it back and see if he wins. That's what the sport is. You have great rivalries. Go at it again. See if you can beat Tank. But right now, I don't think he can beat Tank. I don't think there's any Hispanic guy out there in Tank's division that's going to beat him. You got Bud Crawford. He's still undefeated. And there's another guy, I forgot his name. He's still undefeated. I mean, please tell me where the Hispanic people are dominating in contact sports or any sport. Maybe soccer. I don't watch soccer. I mean, are you guys dominating in soccer? I mean, I don't know because I don't watch it. But to me, that's not a contact sport, even though there's contact. It's not, it's like basketball is not a contact sport, but it's definitely contact. And then let's go to football. I mean, there's plenty of Hispanic people been here for the longest time. They can play American football. Let's go with football. Who's number one in football? Who's the hardest hitters? It's a contact sport. Who's the hardest hitters? The number one football player is black. As a matter of fact, all the way down to like number 15, they're all black until Tom Brady shows up. They're all black. The number one football player is Lawrence Taylor. Jerry Rice, black. So listen, don't come at me like I'm hating on Hispanic people because I give you guys your props. But you guys don't want to give us our props. For those who are in the comments. Don't come at me unless you're coming to me with the facts. All I did was mention the facts. When it comes to contact sports, black people have faster twitch muscles than any other nationality. This is why we're number one when it comes to track. When it comes to all the way up, listen, and when it comes to track, we're number one in the 100, the 200, the 400. We hold records in all of them. The 400, the 800, David Reducci, 141. That's the 800. The mile, El Garouge. He's from Morocco. El Garouge in the mile. The 15 and the 1600. El Garouge. The 2 mile also. All the way up to the marathon with Lagat. Even the half marathons and the 5,000, the 10,000, all of those are owned by African. All of those records are owned by Africans. So please cut it out. Not unless you can name me one Hispanic, name me 2 or 3, name me one who has come out of, wherever and has the world record in these events. And we can examine that, but still that'll be just one. Black people hold the record in these events. The only ones we don't hold are in the female events. We do not hold the record in the 400. That is owned by a German. Or the 800. That too, I think, is owned by either a German or a Russian. So the 400 and the 800 in women's, no black person owns. This is the world record. But as far as who won the Olympics recently, both black. The 400 and the 800, black right now. But the world record belonged to white people in those two events in females. In females. And I'm not sure about the mile in females. No. Shoot. Not Gide, but she's not Ethiopian. Tirnish DeBarber. Tirnish DeBarber and her sister. I forgot. But they own the mile. So Tierney the Barber owns the record in the mile, and there is somebody who's right after her who's trying to get that. I also think they own the 2 mile. I think they also, not her particularly, but the 3,000, the 5,000, the 10,000, all owned by African women. If you even watch those competitions, there is no competition when it comes to the African women in distance. And you can take your best European runner in the mile. Right now, the best European runner in the mile is Dr. Laura. Dang, I forgot her name. She's a veterinarian. I'd love to see her run, but I know, Laura Muir, Dr. Laura Muir, who's a veterinarian, great runner. She's number one. She's a European champion in the mile. She cannot keep up with any African. She cannot keep up with the number one Africans. It is lights out. And you know when she loses? She loses at the 300 mark in the last lap. Why? Because of her turnover. She does not have the turnover of somebody like the Barber. She doesn't have Gide's turnover. She doesn't have the turnover of some of those other Vivian Chariot. She doesn't have Vivian Chariot's turnover in when you look at the races and you examine the drafting techniques and all that. And let's get this straight. Dr. Laura Muir, she's from Britain, I think. She's British or something like that. When you look at the drafting techniques of the people who run with her and from her country, they're nothing like the drafting techniques of the Africans, the Ethiopians. I mean, the West Africans. It is amazing what they do when they get out there and they run distance, because all of those teammates are all operating as one. That's what they're doing. And about time Laura Muir kicks it in gear, she's already in 3rd or 4th place. And she's playing catch up. If you want to see somebody who can run distance and has a serious kick, look at Hellen Obiri. Once again, the Hispanic people are not there. When it comes to boxing, we love the way you guys box. We love to see it. We love to compete against you. We love it. MMA, we love it. Let's get a thorough understanding. At the top right now are all black guys. Now, when it comes to heavyweight, there's one white guy at the top, the Gypsy King, and we give it to him. We give it to him. We're waiting. I mean, the Bronze Bomber fought him twice and lost to him twice. We give it to you. The Bronze Bomber has knocked out more people than anyone else in boxing history. And you got up. We give it to you. But still, no Hispanic people to be found. Ruiz beat Anthony, the Barber. Loved it. Rematch, I think he lost. Nonetheless, he held that title for a short time. Loved it. Didn't stay on top. I'm sorry, it is what it is, you guys. The majority of time when it comes to these kind of sports, black people are on top. It's your boy Tone 202, I'm out.